When it comes to betrayal and treachery, it has to be those we have within our reach that are capable of carrying such acts out. It might be those we call brothers, friends, and families. These are occurrences that have become very common because those who need to take down have to be close enough to pull down people considered as threats, and eliminating obstacles sometimes cannot be carried out from a distance. In today's episode of our true crime series, something above disturbing happened, and it's enough to blow your mind away. It's often brother and sisters who fight, or brothers and brothers, or sisters and sisters, or friend to friend, or husbands and wives who seek to take their partners out of the picture in ways other than a normal divorce that leads to these stories. But it's more than that today. Today's story is centered on a stepfather seeking to poison his wife to be with his 24-year-old stepdaughter. Oh, I bet you're stunned, but there's more. How can he achieve this without getting caught? Because it is obvious that when he eventually becomes successful in this vile plot, all fingers would be pointed in his direction. He does the unthinkable. He doesn't just rush into the plan like most murderers do. While watching you wonder, how could he do this without thinking of the repercussions? Alfred W. Roof is 71 years old and hails from Indiana. He worked blue-collar jobs and kept a low profile. He was a man that loved to be under the radar. He is married to his wife, Lisa Bishop, and he has a stepdaughter from another marriage, Bishop's daughter. Roof and Bishop have had issues with their marriage for some time, and he was getting pretty impatient. He complained of his wife to his stepdaughter most of the time, as she was always around to hear him and comfort him. Their marriage became so sour that they often didn't speak to each other, and he started confiding in his stepdaughter. In 2021, Bishop ran over him with her car. This was known to the police officers because they had a volatile marriage with cases of domestic violence. So, because of this distance in their marriage and the exhaustion that came with being physically and emotionally attached to her, he started drifting away. And while drifting away, he got closer and closer to his stepdaughter, finding solace in her. And gradually, it wasn't just comfort he was looking, it was something way more than that. She was no longer his daughter, but a companion who treated him differently than the others, including his wife, Lisa Bishop. In no time, she started fulfilling other desires, not meant for her to satisfy. His inordinate desires were being quenched by her, and not long after, it was becoming clear that Bishop was a hindrance to this newly found love he had discovered. Her stepdaughter was all in it, and soon they plotted a way to get her out of the picture to live forever and enjoy themselves. She was an obstacle in their path, and there was no other way to do this than for him to be decisive about the whole matter. Someone had to do it, and for the greater cause, it had to be him. He wouldn't stress the love of his life, his confidant and comforter with this responsibility. His mind was made up. This man is calculator. He measures his moves and provides himself plausible deniability in the event his plan works. He played the role of an encouraging, nice, sweet, persevering, and loving partner until he got busted. To take away suspicion from himself when it all went down, he had to make it look like a natural death occurrence. She was sick from time to time and then died. Well, everyone would empathize with him, and no one would think otherwise than he would elope with his stepdaughter, start another chapter of his life there, and enjoy himself. He fantasized everything and made his calculated move to spike her drinks with MDMA, a synthetic entactogen of the methylenideoxyphenethylamine family. A party drug taken for ecstasy, most times referred to as Molly. He also poisoned her with cocaine and other depressants as well. Every time he did this, he prayed it was her last time and hoped she never came back. She started to visit the hospital frequently because they got to her. She had headache from nowhere, rapid heartbeats, always feeling weak and stressed out. The doctors initially found nothing wrong with her and discharged her afterwards. Meanwhile, Ruth always showed up to support her and ensure she got treated and pulled through this. Since this was all happening so fast and her family members became curious, they started to ask questions. Come on, Ruth. What's wrong with Bishop? Why is she always sick? Ruth, who was composed and determined not to let his guard down, and would always reply with a smile, My wife, Bishop, is just stressed, and she just needs to rest. She'll be fine. And that was it, since there was nothing to suspect. He went away and resumed poisoning her drink with these substances again and again. But the more she visited the hospital, the more suspicious everyone became. And because his goal was always one step from completion, he never rested and was very relentless. His stepdaughter always encouraged him to get the job done so that they could be together. While her family members were concerned about Lisa's frequent ill health and the doctor's worries about the inability to diagnose what was wrong with her, her daughter grew impatient and needed Ruth to be done with it once and for all. Ruth always prayed that the visit to the hospital was the last, but Lisa Bishop was stronger than he thought. She always pulled through, and although she came back weaker, she was still alive. This pissed him so much. She didn't want to die, and all he did and ever wanted was to take her out. Why was she so stubborn? The pressure on him grew every day, and it was becoming unbearable, something he couldn't handle anymore. On one side, he had to keep a smiley face and answer questions that were thrown at him by his family, and on another side, he had to assure and reassure his stepdaughter that things would go as planned very soon and that they'll be together, but she didn't seem to be taking it so well. Ruth was frustrated, and soon his calm and collected demeanor seemed to be shaken by his inability to finish the job. His ability to ward off suspicious questions began to wear off, and his protective gear of innocence, which he wore and showed up with every day, was beginning to fall off. He became easily infuriated and pissed off about little things that didn't matter because of the inconclusive medical results that showed up signifying his progress. Yet she was still breathing. He began to add more than the normal dosage he gave her to make it happen faster so that he could be with the woman he wanted. On one occasion, Bishop's sister showed up unannounced and finds Ruth persuading Bishop to take the remains of her Coca-Cola drink, which she said she didn't want to. This was strange because it wasn't the first time, and he looked as if he was hiding something. The facade of a supportive husband in the times of chaos was beginning to be exposed. She left, but the image of what she saw lingered within her, not one she could forget easily. Also, it wasn't only Bishop's sister that suspected something wrong was happening. Bishop herself suspected foul play somewhere and stayed alert and on her toes. In January 2022, Ruth's wife contacted authorities, revealing alarming concerns. She reported multiple hospitalizations, 6 times in recent weeks, due to symptoms like headaches, drowsiness, and diarrhea. Hospital tests showed presence of MDMA, cocaine, and benzodiazepines, despite her denial of substance use. Previously, she filed reports of missing personal items and suspected drugging. This disturbing revelation sparked a deeper investigation. And on January 3, 2022, Ruth confessed to his wife. During a police visit to their home, Ruth was overheard admitting to spiking his wife's drink with an unknown substance allegedly provided by her daughter. Ruth confessed to his wife because he felt bad, according to the affidavit. He revealed drugging her multiple times and taking her for 6 hospital visits due to severe symptoms like headaches, drowsiness, diarrhea, and lightheadedness. Ruth's admission highlighted the extent of his deceit and harm inflicted on his wife. The wife surrendered evidence: a pill bottle containing off-white powder and a Coca-Cola can with similar residue. However, she revealed that she had grown suspicious and confronted him, prompting his startling admission. Bishop was transported to a hospital for a blood and urine screening, while Ruth was taken to the sheriff's department. Ruth disclosed drugging his wife to facilitate sexual encounters with her daughter and friend. He made these shocking revelations at the sheriff's department, waiving his Miranda rights. Roof implicated his stepdaughter, claiming she provided the powdery substance about 3 months ago and instructed him to spike his wife's drinks. He admitted to a sexual relationship with the daughter, who allegedly suggested murdering his wife to collect life insurance and eventually marry Roof. According to Roof's defense attorney, Tompkins, the daughter has denied being involved in the attempted poisoning. Roof confessed to poisoning his wife's drinks approximately 12 times between September and December 2021, coinciding with visits from the daughter and her friend while his wife was unconscious. According to court documents, Roof acknowledged the poison's lethal potential and the duo's ultimate goal, his wife's murder. According to court documents, Ruff detailed his unthinkable scheme. He'd lace his wife's coke with a powdery substance, inducing 13-hour sleep. Ultimate goal, fatal poisoning. Roof confessed that his stepdaughter and friend instructed him to drug his wife. Once unconscious, they'd visit, performing sexual acts. But then Alfred would explain that he would give his wife the substance just to make her pass out so the other two females would come over so he could have sex with them. Roof admitted to intercourse with one woman, while the other stole his wife's items. He'd pay for these services. The daughter allegedly masterminded the plot. She suggested he eliminate his wife, which would lead to inheriting a huge life insurance, and then marry Roof afterward. This disturbing testimony revealed a calculated, deadly plan. Lisa Bishop, the 51-year-old wife of Roofy, shared her harrowing experience on Facebook in 2022. "I've endured 702 hospital and doctor visits due to Ruff's actions. I fight daily for my life." She claimed Roof beat her with a nightstick while she slept, damaging her left shoulder. She also claimed she called police 32 times in Connorsville. Allegations also implicated Ruff's stepdaughter, now in her 30s, in orchestrating the plot. This disturbing case highlights the devastating consequences of manipulation and exploitation, fueled by twisted desires. Some say she wasn't the victim and the man was, while some put the blame on the daughter, as she deceived him to doing those things with the promise of her sleeping with him. Attorney John L. Tompkins for the defendant reflected on the case. In his words, "Had prosecutorial action been taken earlier, this tragedy might have been avoided. She wasn't held accountable for her actions." Tompkins acknowledged the toxic dynamic in their relationship. Their relationship was mutually destructive. What she did doesn't justify his actions, but it's a complex situation. Roof pleaded guilty in Wayne County Court, revealing his stepdaughter and her friend concocted the plan. They supplied the drugs to sedate his wife. Alfred Roof was convicted of aggravated battery with risk of death, level 3 felony, and sentenced to 4 years in prison and 5 years of probation. Initially, Ruff faced conspiracy to commit murder charges, but they were dismissed due to his terms of his guilty plea. In January 2022, police stated that 2 more suspects were under investigation in connection with Roof's case. Yet no updates on arrests or charges have been released. The case's incomplete resolution sparks continued curiosity and concern. Many feel that the fact that Bishop's daughter not charged with any offense is absolutely wrong because of the disturbing evidences that revealed her connection to the crime. Regardless, she is free for now, although investigations are still ongoing. In the end, this story leaves us with chilling questions and a haunting reminder of just how fragile trust can be. When betrayal comes from those we hold closest, family, friends, partners, how can we truly protect ourselves? What are the red flags that might go unnoticed in our daily interactions simply because we don't want to believe they're there? Do you think true justice was served in this case, or does this story deserve further scrutiny? If stories like this captivate you and make you question the depths of human behavior, make sure to subscribe and turn on notification bell. We have more chilling, mind-bending cases coming up that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Stay curious, stay cautious, and remember, sometimes danger is closer than we think.